Hello. A very good evening to you all. I welcome you to the 13th NVLF lecture series. Firstly, I would like to thank each one of you who have taken out time from their busy schedules and graced this occasion. It is your encouragement and support that lets us progress year on year. I know it is the mid of the week and a lot of you had to beat the traffic to make it in time. Let us take a minute, close our eyes, cut off from all the chaos that has been surrounding us, and align ourselves to make the most of this beautiful evening. So we'll maintain a silence of 1 minute and align ourselves. Now that we are all set to sit back, relax, and enjoy this beautiful evening, I would like to invite our eminent speaker, Ms. Jane Sahi, Dr. Ramaseshagiri Rao, and Mr. Mohan Nishtala onto the stage for lighting of the lamp. As the lamp is being lit, let us embrace the warmth and positive energy it symbolizes. Together, let's create an atmosphere of joy and celebration as we honor Lakshmi Auntie on her special day. May I now please invite Srimati Sushila on the stage for the invocation of the ceremony.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणावरदण्ड ब्रह्माण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिः देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Thank you, Auntie, for the beautiful start. Now we have a very special guest who has come down all the way from Dubai to support NVLF and celebrate his grandmother's birthday. May I please invite Mr. Ishan Bandla to come onto the stage and speak a few words about Lakshmi Auntie.
Esteemed guests and members of the NV Lakshmi Foundation and students, thank you for gathering here today as we celebrate the life and legacy of an extraordinary woman, NV Lakshmi, my grandmother. I stand before you as one who had never met her in person because I was born just a few months after her passing away. On this day, as we celebrate her 65th birthday, we reflect upon the remarkable journey of a woman who left an indelible mark on the lives of the underprivileged, particularly in the realm of education. Her commitment to making a difference found expression in her involvement with various organizations, including the Rotary Club of Secunderabad Cantonment, Sri Vidya School for Special Children, and the Definitely Able Foundation. Tragically, on the 7th of June 2011, NV Lakshmi left this world at the age of 52 due to a sudden brain hemorrhage. Yet, even in death, her spirit of giving endured. She donated her organs, granting a new lease of life to 6 others. In this act, she exemplified the profound truth that giving is living. The family has established the NV Lakshmi Foundation, a testament to their commitment to continuing her impactful work. My uncle Anirudh aptly described her as a lady with iron fists in velvet gloves. She was firm in what she said and did, though she always spoke in a soft and pleasant tone. Another quality worth mentioning is that she was very principled. Just to illustrate my point, I remember my mother telling me she would end telephonic conversations even though it was an overseas call at sharp 2 p.m. at the end of her lunch break, which was at Associated Road Carriers, ARC, where she was the senior vice president. The flip side is she wouldn't mind delays when it came to dressing up for a family function. Thank you all once again to simply remember my grandmother, N.V. Lakshmi, lost but not forgotten. In closing, let me quote, "No farewell words were spoken, no time to say goodbye. She was gone before we knew it, and only God knows why." Let us now enjoy this special event dedicated to Lakshmi and to deserving students whom we are mentoring, nurturing, and educating, and thus empowering the girls for a brighter future.
Thank you, Ishan. I don't think anybody could have done justice to that better than you. Now, may I please have Mr. Mohan Nishtala on the stage, the man who tirelessly manages the show 365 days a year, to share the updates and progress regarding the NVLF activities.
Thank you. Follow me. Stage fear. We gather here this evening to a very special memorial lecture. 13th, lucky for some, unlucky for some. For me, it has been always lucky. Today we remember Lakshmi on her 65th birth anniversary. This special day is dedicated to all the children who are the future. Oh no, sorry. This is Lakshmi at Sri Vidya School for Special Children. Shanti ma'am. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near, still loved, still missed, and very dear. It's our belief empowering a girl through education in the present has the transformative potential to create miracles in the future. By investing in her learning and development, we not only enrich her life but also cultivate a ripple effect of positive change that extends to her community and beyond. Education thus becomes a beacon, illuminating a path to independence, resilience, and the ability to contribute meaningfully to the society. It's not just an investment in an individual, but the collective progress and prosperity for generations to come. Those who have been with us for over so many years, our basic tenets have remained same over the years. We select with due diligence and welcome with care, inspire, guide, and mentor girls to lofty goals, ensure resource barriers do not curtail their ambitions, empower against family background constraints, evolve in time, and contribute to their bright future. This has been the area of focus all these 12 years. We have always ensured quality to quantity. Small is beautiful is our mantra. With this ethos, we have and are supporting 93 girls to date. The girls are in the professional streams, medicine, law, physiotherapy, nursing, and on, computer science. Some of the students are here from all the disciplines. There was a deep reflection as to what am I going to tell you this evening. Then I found out that statistics and analytics do not substantiate any correlation between our efforts and the rewards. Hence, we decided to show glimpses of the rewards. I would request Chandni to come and share her experience. Vaishnavi, if she has here, she will follow, and Ratna the last. Yeah? Chandni, over to you. Time, 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chandni, studying BTech second year. Today I stand here with a heart full of gratitude and appreciation. I want to take a moment to express my heart full of thankfulness to NV Lakshmi Foundation. NV Lakshmi Foundation has helping our family since 7 years. My mother and her 3 sisters are widows working as a sales girls in South India Shopping Mall. We are cousins, 6 members. 3 of them are studying engineering. One sister is studying degree, and my big sister, she's completed her graduation in MS. Mohan sir motivated us that resources are not necessary for the education. Not only motivation, sir also helped very much to our family. Nearly 10 lakhs has been helped to our family, and also in future he also promised up to initialize 9 lakhs. Sir not only helped our fees for my sister, he also helped to go US for her MS with bank balance tickets, and so many. As pay for initiate motivate, I also want to help a girl child like suffering for studying like me. Thank you NV Lakshmi Foundation for your gracious studies. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good, good. I think the first time she's speaking on stage. 12.75 lakhs have been spent on that family, and another commitment we have given is 7.75, total 20 lakhs. And as far as the sister is concerned, I did not help even with a penny. It's a wonderful story for all of us to learn. She went to US with zero bank balance. Mind you, when I'm saying zero, it is zero. She got 100% loan from an institute in New Jersey. There was a gentleman over here who really helped her with his income tax papers just because they share the same surname. He gave a letter that since her father is not there, I am supporting this child. She got her visa because of that. I must thank Ramarajagaru for that in absentia. Right? Thank you. Ratna? Oh yeah, come. Same, 2 minutes.
Very warm evening to everybody present here. I think you all have experienced a lot of cold while coming on the way. Yes, I have too. And okay, firstly, I want to express deep gratitude towards NVLF Foundation for supporting me all these 3 years. Initially, I was not aware of this institution, this foundation, I mean. I have a very good friend of mine who has been supported by Mohan sir. She was the first candidate who was supported by NVLF, who was adopted. I can't put it in the right word, but who has been supported by the foundation. So I was just a friend of her. Then after COVID, I have been facing financial constraints, and during that situation, I thought of Mohan sir and I have approached him. I was little adamant about asking him or seeking for support, but I was actually asking for a job or a situation where I could earn or support myself financially. And sir has come forward and he helped me financially with regard to my fee. He has always been supporting me not only educationally but in every aspect. He has introduced me to Rotaract, which is also a very beautiful platform. Once I joined this Rotaract, actually I'm a member of Rotaract Club of Synergy, and I have also been the professional services director in district council, RI 3150. So all these years I have been journeying, or I have been traveling with a road track. This has given me a lot of exposure, a lot of experience. I have met a lot of people who have been guiding me. I have explored a lot. And apart from that, also sir has also helped me personally in every way. He always made me productive. uh, be it anywhere, wherever I spend time, it is, he always ensured that it is productive. So I want to sum it up shortly that actually I am now an advocate. I have done immediately after my intermediate. I have pursued 5 IDC LLB, and first 2 years I was actually first 2 years was before COVID, and when I was in third and fourth year, COVID entered, and then all the situation came up. But then successfully this year 2023 April, I got graduated, and now I'm practicing. Thank you so much. But this wouldn't have been so easy without the support of the foundation and especially Mohan sir. And apart from that, I'm also pursuing my master's in law, currently at Keshav Memorial Law College in criminology. And my aim is to become a judge and clear judicial services examination. And unfortunately, fortunately, I've been practicing since 3 months, and it has been a very hectic schedule for me till now. Before even entering this office, I was not sure if I would be on this days speaking now. Should I sum it up, sir? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm not even prepared for it. Sir asked me to prepare for it, and it is like an impromptu for me. But I'm very lucky to share this space with you all. And also, where I was is yeah, I'm very busy with my schedule. That I was in office till now, and my office is just in the next lane. Jayan Jaisuriya, if Advocate Jayan Jaisuriya, if either of you are aware of him. So all these months I have been so busy that I'm unable to spend time on my education. I'm unable to prepare for the exam which I'm aiming. So and now with the guidance of sir, I've also decided to resign or take a break from practice and also prepare full time for the job so that I want to commit myself to achieving this goal for a certain period. Then if I don't clear it, then I'm always coming back to practice. Yes, anyway, I want to sum it up with one beautiful saying that kindness never ends. Many people today believe in kindness because of the existence of this foundation, and unfortunately, or I can put it as fortunately, when we lost Lakshmi ma'am, the same year I lost my mother as well, and I was 10 years old then. So this is also a place where I connect to where I feel connected to this foundation. And I lost my mom to cancer, and I've shared this experience with Mohan sir, and he always believes in organ donation and he always promotes that. So I hope many people, especially youngsters, or I can say is many people. Yes. Okay. Okay. Anyway, yes. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity.
See, one of the problems in giving a mic to a lawyer is they don't stop. Thank you.
Yes. Thank.
Okay, don't get so emotional. Last but not the least, Vaishnavi. And a special request, please keep your phones either preferably switched off or in silent mode. Thank you. 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, I'm Vaishnavi. I'm a BTech graduate from CBIT, Chaitanya Bharati Institute of Technology, and at present I'm working in Brain Enterprises as a solution developer. So I think everyone has their experience with COVID. Like some has health issues, financial issues. For us, it was both. Actually, we had both issues. I had both issues. The health and my financial conditions were not good. Uh, COVID was in my BTech second year when I was doing biotechnology BTech second year, and we were like we had no options. All options were like very much hard to live in that cases because we have only one source, our father's income, which goes to our family maintenance and all. We had no extra support for us for my education and my brother's education. We have approached many people. We knocked doors. We asked like people, foundations. We have approached couple of foundations. To be honest, they completed all the formalities which they make to give funding or the money to people, and they refused to give at last. We like literally we have asked for the help, sir. Can you please? But in the process of asking, one of my relatives has suggested. NV Lakshmi Foundation, and sir, we have approached him, sir, and I must thank you. You like the quick response which you have given for us. Many haven't, and today we are really doing very well. Our financial conditions improved a bit because I have completed my BTech graduation in merit and distinction for first class, and I have got placed in my placements, which was a very good company, a startup it is, and we are really doing good. And one more thing which has inspired me a lot is an initiative called Pay It Forward. Like I am a girl child. In this society, girls like they get least preference in education. Like they say this is enough because our many of our relatives said it to my father too. Why BTech and all? Why higher education? BSc it's enough for girls. But my father took a big step to make me to educate me, to make me complete my graduation BTech. He aims a lot about me, and your help 2 years, sir. I must say, yes, yeah, I'm doing it. Sir said that we helped you. We took an initiative to help you, and you must take a step forward, and you should also help a girl child so that she could also educate herself. She could complete her education, and she could earn her life. So I promise her I would do that. In coming future, I would come forward and help, and I would request everyone to do that too, because girls need that support to lead their own life. They should be independent. So this is what I want to say, and I thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I asked all the girls to prepare. All wanted to speak extempore. That's fine. Just moving on the notebook distribution, apart from directly educating and mentoring girls, we also do this in association with the Rotary Club, my host club of Rotary Club of Cantonment Secunderabad. This year the government had distributed notebooks, so we really did not concentrate much. However, a sum of rupees 1,10,000 was allocated towards distribution. We have done it for 4 schools. This glimpses of the photographs. We also have distributed laptops worth about 2.7 lakhs to 6 girls. This would not have been possible without the general LF had a role to play. Gentlemen and ladies, she is the real hero. She is the true embodiment of NVLF tagline, giving is living. She had given a fresh breeze of life to 6 hitherto terminally ill patients, even though she has gone. Can I request Srividya to talk more of our work on organ donation in association with Mohan Foundation? Srividya, for you 1 minute.
A very good evening to one and all present here. I am Srividya. I work as the project manager in Mohan Foundation. So from the last 2 years, Mohan sir and I have been working closely. We have sensitized several schools, colleges. We have done awareness campaigns. With the help of Mohan sir, we even screened the film Air Zindagi, which is the biopic of my country director, Miss Lalita Raghuram, who's also here. So Mohan sir was the first funder. He came and said, I'll give the first donation to screen the film. And so I have gathered a few pictures of the work that we've done with Mohan sir. He's just a call away. Whenever I say, sir, no school is agreeing, sir, I've gone, I've spoken, they just don't want to do it. He says, he somehow comes up with contacts and he's like, you call him, you go there, you do the talk. And it's a great success. Whenever Mohan sir steps in and gives me the contacts of schools and colleges, it's just easier now. Most of them know me because I have called and, sir, please give us a slot. And he has helped me at least 20 schools in this year, and over the past 2 years we would have done at least 50 schools and colleges. So that was the talk at NCC Cadet Bison Polo Grounds. Then that one was with Sheshgiri Rao sir in Indoor Engineering College. The previous one. No, previous one. We didn't speak about that. So sorry. The one more slide. This one. Yeah. So this is Government Girls High School in Boralam. We also did Maritpalli, and that ma'am is also here. We also did Vivyala Jinnaram School. Mohan sir and I only went to that school. It was a very backward school, and Mohan sir said it's the need of the hour to sensitize rural India. So we went and did the talk there. So there we had almost 4 slides of pictures. Then Mohan sir condensed it and got it to 2 slides. So these are the 4 major schools and major schools we've done, and we are also looking at Bolaram sir for next talk. Yeah. Thank you so much, and over to you, Mohan sir.
Thank you. Just moving on, we are running little behind schedule, but this has been the trademark of NV Lakshmi Foundation, instituted the lecture series way back in 2011. Every year on December 13th, fortunate some of the speakers, Swami Bodhananda, Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan, Garikpat Narasimha Rao, Suchitra Shenoy, who incidentally is here, Nipun Mehta, Lucy Kurian, Dr. Evita Fernandez, Dr. Ruha Shadab from Harvard, Meera Shenoy, and last year we had Deepa Kiran. 12 years, 3 slides, and now this is what all of you, including me, have been waiting for. Miss Jane Sahi is the speaker of the evening. She has come all the way from Bengaluru. I could speak for at least another half an hour of what she does, but I better leave it to a wiser counsel. Let me end with, I always recall this when what Lakshmi had said at the district governor's visit during Ramchandra's presidentship. We can serve society in many areas and in myriad ways. What is required is the intention to serve, a little sacrifice, a little time, and reorganization of personal priorities to achieve the satisfaction of serving the society. Thank you. Relax and enjoy. Over to Polumi.
Thank you so much. May I please request Ms. Manju Gupta now to introduce our special speaker of this evening, Ms. Jain Sahi.
A very good evening to all of you. NV Lakshmi Foundation has set a great precedent by exposing the audience to wonderful speakers year after year on this Foundation Day. Among the gems unearthed by Mohan, one gem is present in our midst today. I thank Mohan and the Foundation for giving me this opportunity to introduce such a gem, the speaker for this evening. Aristotle said, "Greatness of spirit is accompanied by simplicity and sincerity." Jane, our speaker for the evening, truly exemplifies this quote. Her unquestionable simplicity and pure heart has led her to make great changes. She has strived to make education meaningful by thinking out of the box and has definitely made a difference in the lives of many. Jane was born in 1949 into a Quaker family in England. She went to a Quaker residential school. Her father taught her philosophy of education, and through him, she was exposed to alternative ways of education, particularly the ideas of Rudolf Steiner, an Austrian architect and teacher, and A.S. Neil, a Scottish educator and author. She came to India in 1968 in search of a deeper understanding of Gandhiji's life and values. She met a number of individuals who helped her shape her perspectives and ideals. In 1970, she married Jyoti Sahi. Soon after, they moved to where she now lives with her husband and her children and grandchildren. Gandhiji continues to be a strong source of inspiration. In particular, his vision and theory of basic education, which is rooted in the soil, both literally and figuratively. Gandhiji insisted on the dignity of labor and on work being an integral part and means of intellectual growth. Tagore also had a profound influence on Jane. Tagore rejected the artificiality and barrenness of English-oriented bookish education that seeks only to train the individual, that too only by suppressing one's creativity. Sita School was founded by Jain Sahi in 1975 as a learning space for the children in and around the village of Shivapura, about 60 kilometers from Bhumi campus. Since its inception, more than 4 decades ago, the school has been helping the village community which lacked a basic primary school and get decent education, and through the years has been incorporating the ideals of collaboration, artistry, and place-based education in the practice of imparting education. Education should be complete, reasonable, and open. This is the thought that Jain Sahi, the charming educator of Sita School, speaks to promote. With a green space, some dogs, a lot of trees, and open classrooms, the space is nourishing, healthy, abundant, and natural. She has written a number of books on education, both for children and educators. Sita School presents us with endless ways to pursue education, and education is made meaningful and is filled with opposed, fun as opposed to the learning environment of formal classrooms. In addition, Jain has been influenced by the free school movement in the West, which has stressed on the necessity of the individual's development in an environment free from pressure of adult artificial expectations. In the last 5 years, Jane, along with 2 teachers, has been involved in a small project called the Fig Tree Learning Center, situated near Bengaluru, which has collaborated with the Nature Conservation Foundation to work in nearby government primary schools to support children learning about their immediate environment and also to promote literacy through classroom libraries. Jane has a clear concept of schools India needs today. Schools that encourage creativity, individualism, spontaneity, and that are able to use resources in the area to advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be befitting to say, Jane, thy name is simplicity and sincerity personified. For she is J. Judicious, A. Altruistic, N. Nurturing, and E. Effective, an effective educator. Presenting Jane Sahi. Over to you, ma'am.
It's my honor to welcome you on the stage.
Thank you for your over generous words, actually. But thank you for your welcome, and particularly thanks to Sri Mohan Nishtala and all of the people associated with the NV Lakshmi Foundation, the family and the friends that have come this evening. Thank you for allowing me to rethink some things about education and to have this opportunity to share some thoughts with you. I have called the talk Learning About Living. It might be better termed Learning Through Living, living to the full. So, can we go to It's all right. Don't worry. Yes, I think I will carry on and then we can. I wanted to start with a quote from Krishna Kumar, education which allows us to stay indifferent to violence and war is no education at all. Education which allows us to stay indifferent to violence and war is no education at all. So I think these words have really stirred me to think what that means. And another way of putting it might be to an education that can celebrate togetherness, repair brokenness, share stories that open different possibilities of doing things. How can the family, the school and community work together to create a more just and equitable society? What does learning about living mean? I think, as we have heard today, all of us here are deeply concerned about education, and particularly about those who are often marginalized and sometimes further disempowered by mainstream schooling. The children of migrant workers, many girls, those who speak different languages and whose home language is not acknowledged in the school setting. There is a term which I find quite disturbing: first generation learners. This refers to children who are the first in their families who have never been to school before. The first generation who are going to school and becoming literate. Although some would argue that it is justified to use that term, as a way of understanding more formal, structured, and deliberate teaching and learning, but it seems to imply that learning, significant learning, only happens in school. And this is far from true. We all know that we learn so much outside the school classroom walls. For millennia, the vast majority of children had no formal or institutionalized education, but learned through active participation in the communities they were part of. In traditional societies, the immediate environment was the context of their learning, whether it was from storytellers to carpenters, from potters to weavers to farmers. Vinoba Bhave, 70 years ago, was aware of this irony when he says, "Our first task is to realize that an uneducated being is nowhere to be found." But today, all too often, an ordinary schoolboy treats a first-class carpenter as if he were an ignorant boor. So often you hear people dismissing people who have not been to school, maybe because they don't speak English. English is a very, people have spoken, written, poetry, plays in so many languages, but the implication is that you're not educated. So Vinoba Bhave so many years ago recognized this. And realized that sometimes so-called uneducated people were highly skilled, knowledgeable about ways not just of survival, but about living. The challenge in the present time is to understand the context of children's learning, and most particularly for those who have been uprooted and moved to the ever-growing and expanding cities including, of course, Hyderabad and Bangalore. The physical distance from home to school is usually not very far. For most children, it will be within walking or cycling distance. For some, it may require a bus ride or even being dropped by a two-wheeler or car. But the emotional, mental, and cultural distance may be very great. The language itself may be different. Ways of communicating, whether telling stories or asking questions. Attitudes towards time and work may be very different at home and in school. When a child arrives at lower KG at the age of 3 or 4, they come with so much that they have learnt. They have learned how to speak, to communicate, to move, to explore, to question, to play. So many things they come to school with. They are not the proverbial empty vessel waiting to be filled. Much rather, a person designed from the way the brain is structured to learn more. In very different ways, in varied cultural and social settings, all young children will have learnt to communicate, to interact with people and things around them. So it must be a question not of displacing what they know, but adding to it and building on it. For many of us, looking back at our childhood, I don't know about for you, but certainly for me, the journey to and fro, from home to school and back again, was a lively and exciting time, learning about each other's lives, playing on the way, keenly observing the neighborhood that we passed. Yet, that between space, the space between home and school, very rarely comes into the textbook. These are things that are not talked about. It's not a subject worthy, supposedly, of study. One of the contexts of learning is the immediate environment and the surroundings. And that reminds us of how we are interdependent on the people who live there and of nature itself. We so often think that we are self-sufficient, but we are totally dependent on nature. Learning is not only to be found in the virtual world of textbooks and internet or information gathered on the internet, but real life experience where children can investigate, observe, question, and share their experiences. Increasingly, in the face of the climate crisis, we realize the complexity of our interconnectedness. We cannot live in a virtual world. The natural world is where the natural world is ignored, dismissed, or romanticized. Earlier this year, I was part of a small group, that put together a bilingual book called, rather unprepossessing title, There's Nothing There. And so often we think what is closest to us is actually not worthy of our attention. But the more we looked with the children, with professional naturalists, the more we saw. And we looked in unlikely places, in a construction site, under a tree, up in the sky, and even in the drain. It was teeming with life that we often don't bother to notice, don't think is important. Yes. Sorry, could you not hear? I can. So we situated this book in a nearby school, a government school, a peri-urban situation where children were coming to school, and we took as the main character a girl called Arali and her mother as she goes home from school. And she's a very feisty little girl, and she notices everything and anything. And at first, her mother is rather distracted. She wanted to get home quickly. And finally, the mother herself is looking at things with great attention. In these pictures, we see Sarojini Ramachandra and Gauzia Taj, two of the facilitators I've worked with for many years, sharing the chart about the Kaskas tree, the Singapore cherry. This was a chart made by the Nature Conservation Foundation and was deliberately designed not to look at the exotic, but to actually look at what was there in their surroundings. So often children know more about giraffes and zebras than they know about mongooses or woodpeckers that are on their doorsteps. So often we're looking at a remote kind of environment, not our own. See, the children are actually going out of the school. And here you can see the children looking very carefully at things they may have passed every day on the way to school. Drawing the next slide. Drawing from life and writing about what they have noticed helps children to learn not just about things as objects, but actually as in relation to themselves. And to see the tree, very often in textbooks we see objects, trees or leaves or a bird. We don't see them in their totality, in the world of their environment. And all these things are connected. So it's not just leaving children where they are, it's actually extending it. And you can see collaboration is so important. We learn from books, we learn from teachers, but children also learn a great deal from each other and by individual observation. Here the children are actually extending the chart by thinking about the sensory experience they had in looking at the trees, what it looked like, what they heard, what they smelt, what they touched, and a little bit what they tasted. So often, children are expected to copy what they write or memorize what they read. Paulo Freire, the famous Brazilian educationist, talks about reading and writing the word and the world. The word and the world, that these two must come together so that we can connect our experience with what we read and write. Here you can see the children have put together in the nearby government school where I live, a small display of the activities that they did about the book There's Nothing There. There's something on spiders, there's something on the insects that were there. There were books that they had read to extend their knowledge and their impressions of a spider walk. The other thing that learning about living is actually learning about questions. Questions are sometimes so much more important than the answers. Usually children ask questions and expected to give answers. But you can see in the next slide the kind of questions that children came up with. Sorry, not this one. The one, yes. Yes, the next. Why does the lizard's tail move even when it's detached from the body? Well, to be honest, I had to look it up. I knew part of the answer, but I didn't know the whole answer. I didn't know that the spinal cord for 30 minutes actually has a connection with the muscles in the lizard's tail. So it's a learning. Children's questions often make us actually think more carefully, more closely about the answers. So these were just some of the questions. But these questions are all about the natural environment. The next slide. The next slide is related to a book by the famous Bengali writer Mahashweta Devi. And she has written a book based on her experience of working with tribal children in West Bengal and Odisha. And these are some of Moina's questions. They're not about the natural environment, they're more about social, economic, political questions. Why do I have to walk so far to the river to fetch water? Why should I eat their leftovers? Why should I have to graze Babu's goats when the boys can do it? Why is the school closed? Why shouldn't I study too? And I get the sense, although this is a story, that there is a person or a conglomerate of Moina in the villages where Mahashweta Devi was working, and actually these are real questions. She was called by the village postman the YY girl, which is where the title of the book comes from, and because she was always asking questions. And Moina, in the story, grows up to be a teacher, and she gets very angry with her pupils if they don't ask questions. So to come back to the beginning, learning about living, it must include children's experience of life at home and in the neighborhood, children's questions about the wider world, our challenges to ourselves about creating a more just and non-violent world. We often forget as teachers to question ourselves, question what is our role in this society, in this very rapidly changing world. A space to critically understand what we see, hear, or read, whether it's ads or TV or the stories we enjoy. In these times particularly, we all need, adults and children, and to help children, to question the sources of information and news. I think this is one of the biggest dangers that we are facing just now, is when we listen to news, where is it coming from? When we hear information, who is providing us with this information? So that we learn to act on the knowledge that we are not self-sufficient, that we are interdependent with each other and with the world of nature and the world of materials. I want to conclude with a poem. Some of you maybe know this poem. It's by Kamala Bhasin. The daughter tells her father, "Since you ask, here's why I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. Long denied this right, I must study. For my dreams to take flight, I must study. Knowledge brings new light, so I must study. For the battles I must fight, I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. To avoid destitution, I must study. To win independence, I must study. To fight frustration, I must study. To find inspiration, I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. To fight men's violence, I must study. To end my silence, I must study. To challenge patriarchy, I must study. To demolish all hierarchy, I must study. Because I'm a girl, I must study. To mold a faith I can trust, I must study. To make laws that are just, I must study. To sweep centuries of dust, I must study. To challenge what I must study. Because I'm a girl, I must study. To know right from wrong, I must study. To write feminist songs, I must study. To make a world where girls belong, I must study. Because I'm a girl, I must study.
Thank you so much for the wonderful talk and making us aware of the different ways we can really learn. And I could totally relate because I have a YY boy. All right, so we have 10 minutes for Q&A. Let's make the most of it. So the floor is open for questions. Please. Anyone wants to ask anything? Yeah. I'm sorry, sister, the mic.
You will have to come here.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful talk. It was really very what didn't work, or what are the things that have survived the decades in terms of working with children and teaching.
No, no, I could get it here.
I should mention that the school closed 5 years ago, and the work that we're now doing in government schools was a kind of continuation of the work that we were doing earlier. The village we went to in 1970, when the school opened in 1975, is a very different place today. People's aspirations have changed. And sometimes I think we maybe didn't take those aspirations seriously enough. And I really appreciate how the NV Lakshmi Foundation has actually taken children not just through primary school and secondary school, but beyond that, so that they could really take a part in society in a way that they might not have done without support. So I think that's been a bigger learning, that it's not just schooling, that it's actually taking it forward so that girls are really well equipped and provided for to play an important role in society.
Thank you. Any more questions? I think they can't hear while they're recording. Yeah, I think when they're recording, they're not able to hear the questions. I'm not yeah, probably you'll have to come. Yeah, thank you.
Well, madam, thank you very much. It was wonderful, especially talking about the holistic learning. Yeah, you emphasize the point that you don't look at the object as just an object. It's an isolated object. It has to be interlinked and interconnected. That's a fantastic concept of understanding the holisticness of the system. So you wanted to give a more example about when you talk about the tree, what did the students, how did they relate the tree to the learning part of it? You wanted to give a share little more light on what exactly is that?
Madam, small request. We are recording. Just stand up.
Yes. Yes, that's a good question, because as I mentioned in my talk, very often when children look in the textbook, they see a diagram of a tree. When you actually, one of the exercises that we have done is that you go and sit somewhere in under a tree or near a pond, and you do relate to it in different ways. For some, it may be writing a letter. For some, it might be writing a poem. For some, it might be measuring things or looking very, very carefully at how an ant moves or which bird sound is there. So that you're not just looking at it as an object. You are making a connection through your writing or your drawing. Drawing is a wonderful way for children to really look. Otherwise, we don't look. We tend to just kind of glance. But when you draw, you have to really look very carefully at the... I don't know if you remember, there was a picture of a boy drawing branches. And I was there when he was doing that. And he was looking so carefully. It wasn't just a general kind of picture. So that capacity to look and observe is one of the ways that we learn. But another way is to relate emotionally, imaginatively, and with all the skills that we have for expression, whether it's writing or drawing or singing. Or I remember once doing an exercise like that with a teacher, with a group of teachers. And there was one teacher, and he didn't do anything. He stood, and I thought maybe he hasn't understood. What has happened? Did I not explain carefully? He did nothing for about 10 minutes. And I was tempted to go and say to him, do you understand, where everybody else is drawing and writing? Luckily, I didn't. And then, when they were all sharing, he stood up and did a wonderful mono-acting. So 1 minute he was the tree, the next minute he was himself, and he was doing a dialogue between himself and the tree. So that was something I hadn't thought of. So giving that kind of space for children, for adults, for all of us, that's often what poetry is about, to actually make a deep connection. I hope that's answered your question.
Sir. The right to educate rather than the right to study. The right to get educated is a better term than right to study.
It's true.
That's my point.
Good. Madam,
Almost
Yes. Thank you for your wonderful speech. I was just wondering, how do the children, or how do we as teachers impart the values in the system? You said the appreciation of the nature around the surroundings, but at an early age, what do you think the teacher's role is in imparting values to children, and what is the children's attitude for imbibing those values? If you can throw light on that.
I think one thing is clear, is that moralizing and telling children what to do doesn't work at all. It's only by actually learning by doing, learning by seeing examples. So, for example, we were always very careful in the school about the use of materials, where they were, what happened to rubbish. So it was actually, that was part of school. It wasn't once a year there's an environment day and you do something. It's part of a way of life, the way we actually interact with things and what we do with our waste. That's a major problem in the village, which we haven't solved. But at least as children, beginning to notice what happens to the things we throw away. Yes, I think.
Anyone else has a question? Yes.
Ma'am, what I want to ask is, I completely resonate what you said about learning, that learning has to be about living, and I have also tried to do it. Where what I want to understand is how should teacher education be reshaped so that teachers do this on their own, because this cannot be done by making textbooks and giving them to teachers. The teachers have to be able to relate to environment like that. So how do you think the teacher education should be reshaped to be able to enable this?
I really appreciate your question because that's, for example, the National Curriculum Framework of 2005 has wonderful ideas in it, but they very rarely get translated into practice. So one of the things that I think should reshape teacher education is actually a much more experiential. You can't expect teachers to support children's creative writing if they've never actually had the panic of a blank piece of paper, what shall I write, what shall I do, or even to paint. If you just demand that children do these things, that you don't value it really. So I think to make learning and teaching, first of all, much more together. And have I got time to tell a quick story? Vinoba Bhave, a teacher, prospective teacher, came to his ashram and he said, "What can you do?" And the young man said, "I just teach." "Aha," said Vinoba Bhave. "Do you teach weaving or spinning or cooking or gardening?" The young man was getting rather irritated. He said, no, I just teach." Then Vinoba Bhave said, "Do you teach patience?" Which made him even more irritable. So then he said, "No, I teach reading and writing." And Vinoba Bhave said, "Oh, do you teach people to be like Tagore?" The young man, I suspect he went at that point, and we don't know what he said next. But Vinoba Bhave follows that up, and he says we mustn't make learning a corpse. The death of learning is to just kind of reproduce, expect children to reproduce what they have heard. It's not that we can all invent the wheel, I'm not saying that, but at least give that experience to tinker with things, to play with things, to explore things. There's a lot of discussion just now about ChatGPT. It can do it so quickly, so much better than we can do it. I heard the other day of somebody saying they'd put a prayer to ChatGPT. Anything can be put. But the point is, in that, there's no process happening. It's not a creative process. You're thinking only of the product. You're not thinking of your involvement, your engagement, even if it's not very good, even if it's very diffident, very hesitant. But it's yours, you've internalized it, you've made it yours. So those kind of engagement in processes rather than products is the key, I think, to teacher training. For teachers at any age, young, old, retired teachers included, and learners.
Jane, I just wanted to add what you said. You all have heard Ishan speaking. Truth be told, he was a little hurt because I changed some of the things that he had written. And next time I'll take care. He wanted to be his own self, his own creative self. He felt a little hurt that I changed it to a certain extent. So what I was trying to, I'm just touching her point that they want to be really independent. They don't want to be told to do this. Yeah. Right.
Perfect according to them. Any more questions? I think there's one at the back, and are we good on time? Very good on time. Okay, perfect. This one. I just have a doubt always. The teachers are born or trained? Okay. So the question is, are teachers born or are they trained?
Yes, what am I going to say? um, I think it's a mixture of both. But I think what makes a good teacher, not a teacher who's just learnt some skills and strategies, a good teacher is a reflective teacher, an honest reflection, not to say what you've done and that's the way other people could do it, but actually to really reflect on what we could have done better, what didn't go right, did the children understand, did we involve them enough, did we allow them space to ask their questions. Yes. Yes. Somebody told me that a teacher has to have a kind of litmus paper test. Are children bored or not? I thought that was another metaphor for teachers usually carry on talking. What children are hearing, making their own, is often very small. So we need to be aware of really honestly what are we communicating. We don't always know. And that humility also, to know that we don't know. And maybe something you say one day, maybe all of us have had teachers. At the time we were not very kind of impressed, but many years later we do remember some of the things. Not even what they said, but what they did. So I think that's... But training helps also.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So I think I just had a comment. So for our son, we were really looking for a school that does Steiner or Waldorf kind of education. We wanted screen-free education. People were shocked when we went to them. So what do you want? You don't want screens? We're like, no. And there are very, very few schools that actually encourage this kind of education, at least in Hyderabad. So we found two, and that was also very, very difficult. So promoting this alternate education in schools is a lot on us as well. As parents, what do we want? You know, we all want technologically advanced kids, but I think there's so much more. As we grow up, we know we have to learn technology, but there's so much to learn from nature. Thank you so much. I think I'll request Mrs. Saraswati Kaluri, mother of Lakshmi, to felicitate you with a shawl. No, stage is not possible. So they'll have to.
ఒక్క సెకండ్ జస్ట్ సార్ మీ దగ్గర రండి సార్.
పెళ్ళి కదా బాబు
సార్ రాకపోతే మీరు నన్నే అంటారు.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sahi, for an insightful and wonderful talk, helping us think about unlearning and relearning again. I would now please welcome Wing Commander Rajendra Kumar on the stage, a very dear friend to Lakshmi Auntie and Mohan, who has been meticulously delivering the vote of thanks since we started the lecture series. Rajendra Uncle, over to you for the vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have come all the way from Jubilee Hills for doing this 2 minutes talk of vote of thanks. I normally take about 45 minutes to 1 hour, but today it took 1 hour, 30 minutes. That is some VIP moment, but I'm glad I could make it. In fact, I called up Mohan. I'm trying my best, but he said, don't worry, I'll have some standby arrangement, but I'm glad I finally made it. Respected chief guest, dear audience, my Rotary friends, and the organizers. At the outset, I think I must congratulate each one of you for participating in this memorial lecture to pay homage to our dear late Lakshmi, who left this world at a very young age. I think she was 58, Mohan? But the life she lived was filled with grace and excellence. And before leaving this world, she has set an example for each one of us to imbibe by donating her organs to make this world better. And for that very reason, I think Lakshmi will be remembered by each one of us for many, many years to come. I'm sure all of you must have enjoyed an excellent talk by Madam Jane. And it's not very easy to differentiate between the students and the teachers, because all of us are born as students and all of us at some time or other in life become teachers, maybe as a parent, maybe as a teacher. And I'm sure each one of you have enjoyed and also inspired and motivated to do better in life. I wish to thank all the audience. Without your presence, this function could not have been what it is today. I also wish to thank the organizers for organizing year after year so meticulously. And my special thanks to dear Amit ji for arranging that excellent speaker for this evening. Lastly, I wish to thank the management of Guru Swami Center for making all of us very comfortable. Before I leave, somebody already started clapping. I have another sentence. I would like to request each one of you to repeat after me. All of us have been donating, doing some charity in one way or the other, because I suppose that's the human trait. So, but the best dan or the best donation is the organ donation. So let's all repeat that. Dano mein dan, ang dan. Sarvasresh dan, ang dan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajendra Uncle. May I? After that, yeah. May I please have Srimati Sushila on the stage and request you all to stand up for the national anthem?
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद.
Thank you so much. I wholeheartedly thank each one of you for making it to the lecture series this evening. It means a lot to us. I hope you enjoyed this evening in remembering Lakshmi Auntie as much as we did as a